You're listening to Love Advice with Leanne. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Leanne. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Why, in your professional opinion, do you never take my calls off the air?
Is this Carl?
Yep, it's Carl. I mean, we had a few dates. Everything was great. I thought,
Well, you know, when you switch to Geico, you could save a lot of money on car insurance.
Okay, awesome.
You should call them.
I will.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Blog Talk Radio.
Witches, we are back. I am Dorian Wallace, and that giggling woman over there is my sister Raina Starr. And we are coming at you in high def now.
I'm sorry.
How you doing, Mama?
Oh, I needed that laugh. You know, at the beginning of our show, we have that music, and it was like taking too long. So I'm like, where's the music?
That's what I was thinking.
Guys.
I was like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Why is it not playing? And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, at least it didn't put my sister on hold this time, and then it put you on hold. I was like, fuck.
That's hilarious. Okay, so hi, everybody. We are really happy to be back. We needed that break. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to let my sister do her shout-out, and then I'm going to do my shout-out, and then we're going to bitch for a while, and then we're going to have tonight's guest, Taliesin, the Pagan Pundit himself, is going to join us to dismantle the Republican Party like he does.
Woo!
And I'm very excited about it. I hope y'all are happy to have us back. And sis, take it away with your shout-out, baby.
And I got to preface this with saying that this is probably going to be my last shout-out to Jess because she doesn't listen. So it's kind of a sore reminder. But anyway, Jess, just in case you are listening, I'm sending you a knuckle sandwich and a bag of chips. I love you, Jess.
Oh, hey, Jess. As I had threatened to do earlier this week, I'm giving my shout-out to the ladies and gentlemen and whoever else is part of Imrama. Please like their page. It is I as in ice cream, M as in Mary, RAMMA. These are some fantastic folks, and I am happy to be a part of their group now. So please go like their page. They are very, very, very cool people of our kind, if you all get my meaning, and I think you do. Anyway, so yes, child, it has been some crazy. Let me give my disclaimer. See, we've been gone so long, honey. I'm forgetting everything. If this is your first time listening to Desperate House Witches, first of all, welcome. I would like to also welcome all the new fans who liked the page this week. We love you and appreciate you and are grateful for your company. However, Desperate House Witches is not a GPG or even an R-rated show. I say whatever the hell comes out of my mind, it's straight out to the radio. There is no filter. I could talk about gumballs 1 minute and testicles the next. You don't know what I'm going to say because I don't. So if that offends you, please change the channel because we don't want to offend anybody. Well, that's a lie. I don't give a shit. So there you go. So, okay, a lot has happened since we've been on hiatus, and recent shit and some other shit. People getting shot up everywhere. wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the whole ritual. You hear this shit?
Yeah, ritual.
Ritual.
Marriage. Sorry.
Wiccan ritual killing. Well, if she doesn't shut up, I will. Wiccan ritual killing in Pensacola, Florida, that happened, I think, this past week. And a mother and two sons were killed. And according to the sergeant, because of the way the bodies were positioned, and the person who is currently a suspect is a quote-unquote practitioner. Now, practitioner of what is what I want to know. And have you decided to lump all of paganism and all of witchcraft into Wicca? Let me remind folks, all pagans are not witches, although all Wiccans are pagan. All witches are not Wiccan.
Mm-hmm.
So please, before you decide to paint an already barely tolerated group of people with a broad brush that will no doubt having people out with pitchforks looking for my happy ass, please check your facts. I get really upset about the whole Hollywood thing where, it's the whole bump on the nose, pointy hat. We don't all wear pointy hats. Apparently, most of us have red hair, though. I have noticed that. I don't know why that is. Did you notice? Have you noticed that? I've noticed that. That's some
we
shit
gravitate.
that I think about. Yeah, why, sis? Is it the fire aspect? What is it?
I'm not quite sure. For me, it does make me feel more powerful because I'm naturally, I've got a good portion of white hair at this point, but my hair is naturally a dark brown, like a really dark brown, almost black. But since I was a teenager, I gravitated toward red. I think there's only been one time that I went blue. And that was
I remember that.
Just after Little Man was born. I was like, I want to dye my hair blue, and my mother never let me. So as an adult, I was like, I'm dyeing it whatever fucking color I want,
Seriously. But you know what? Here's the thing, though. The cobalt blue, just FYI, my sister's birthday is this month on the 24th, and her favorite color is cobalt blue, just in case anybody gets a crazy hair up their ass and wants to send her something. But yeah, I mean, ka-ching. Anyway, I also, before I forget, I have to do a shout out to, obviously, the most well-known American Wiccan, Raymond Buckland, our uncle, who we love and hope is on the mend. Really, we understand he's on the mend, but Uncle, as soon as you can be better, we would love to see you on the show again, and we hope you're okay. So we are sending you lots of love and bright blessings. Sorry, I had to get that in before I forgot because it was on my mind, and then it left my mind because apparently two thoughts cannot occupy the same space today in my brain. I am on overload.
That's okay.
I apologize. But the whole thing about coloring your hair, I mean, I like having red hair. If you actually strip away the color that I color my hair actually is red-brown. It's a very dark red-brown. Like my son's, I think, is a little bit lighter red than mine. Because he's got that dark auburn thing going on. But but he has a beautiful head of red hair. And I guess my joke used to be, well, the dye must have got to him while I was pregnant. So my older son has red hair. My younger son has dark brown hair. I don't know. But, so I just happened to notice, gee, a great quantity of us actually have red hair, and I just thought that was really interesting. So, and you know, shit that goes through your sister's brain. So there it is. But so about last night, it's a strange thing. It's strange, don't you think? But I like it.
Oh God, yeah. Me too.
Definitely.
I've run across a couple of friends who use the same color. I was like, yes, that's awesome.
What, the blue, the cobalt blue, or the red?
No, the red that I use.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But same box. I was like, awesome. It looks better on her than it does on me because her hair is lighter. But like, whatever.
Oh, honey, I'll come over and strip out your fucking hair if you really want it red. I will. I will come over with a. I will definitely buy a pot of bleach, and we will strip you up to orange like you would never see before, like carrot orange, and then put red on top of it, a really nice coppery, fiery red. Honey, ooh. See, my hairdresser won't do that shit for me. She's like, no, the red you are is perfect. And I'm like, but I want it to be, there was a time, honey, I wanted it to be Naomi Judd red. Like red.
Oh,
like
I loved her
like
hair.
I know. It's like the most vibrant shade of red ever on a head. And I'm like, oh, I could scare some motherfuckers with hair like that. And I would like it. But she's like, no, you need to look natural. Yeah, but because I'm in a corporate setting, she's like, that's not going to fly. I'm like, fine, taken away all my fucking fun. I tell her to cut my hair. She's like, I tell her to cut my hair. She's like, no, we're not going to do that. I'm like, okay, fine. Or she doesn't want to cut it because it's long.
Yeah, your hair is pretty when it's long. You've got that nice, full, thick head of hair. Mine, as it grows longer, because, I mean, God, when we started this show, my hair was down past my ass.
Yes, it was.
And I think I cut it like a couple years ago because it was like, it was thinning and I was bigger at that point, and it was like, as I started to lose weight, it started to look weird. So I was like, okay, I need to start over and chop it all off. And it's like, why didn't I do this before? Because it was always up in a fucking ponytail anyway.
Well, no, I made you take it down for Samhain 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. I even posed you and everything. I love the pictures I took of you. Anyway, so...
I do, too.
Yeah, I mean, hello, my sister be hot. My sister is a hotness.
I get it from you.
You are. Yeah, well, okay. You're still cuter and younger, but that's all right. And I love you for that. She's very sweet to me, as you can tell. But, yeah, I just, you know, she's like, do you definitely know a style you want? And I'm like, no. And she's like, well, if you're not going to make a decision, I'm not going to cut it at all. I'm like, but you're the expert. That's what I pay you for. And she's like, well, this expert says shut the fuck up, and I'm going to leave it long. I'm like, okay, fine. And I like the fact that I can wear it, like, wrapped up on my head, like piled on my head, and give that like old 1800s look if I want to.
Yeah.
Or I can do the braiding thing from the Middle Ages type of shit that I'm into, which is fun, and I like it. So she did trim it. What did I say? I said trim. The last time I went to see her, I said trim. And she did trim about 3 inches off of it, but it's still long. And she'll probably trim it again. I think she's subtly trying to help me get it shorter, but doesn't want to do anything radical. Because I am the type of bitch that will wake up one morning and say, fuck it, cut it all off. I get in the mood. I get in the mood. I'm a moody bitch. I know this, but I admit it. And that's half the problem. So the other half is actually not being moody. And I think I've come a long way on that point. However, going back to the subject, people after they've spent a good quantity of time around me kind of know how to handle me. I am not easy to be with on any kind of consistent basis, and I'm aware of that. So I thank you, sis, and all the people who are around me more than they probably should.
I was going to say, you've never been difficult with me.
Yes, I have. You just don't remember. But that's another topic for another night. All right, so before Taliesin comes on, I just have to talk about this debate a little bit.
Oh God!
But before,
yes,
but before
please.
we talk, wait. But before we talk about that, shout out to Jon Stewart. My man killed it last night.
Yes.
My man killed it last night.
Fallen. I didn't get to see it last night because, as you guys know, I don't have cable, but we watch it on Hulu the next day. That's like our, thing. We watch at midnight with Chris Hardwick, and then The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and it used to be The Colbert Report right after that, which I cannot wait until he comes back. I love him. Yeah, and I love Larry. Larry is awesome. He is so
Larry
cool.
is. He's very funny.
But yeah. I'm it's so weird to have something be in your life for so long. I'm of an age where I remember Walter Cronkite doing the news. It was the tail end of his career, granted, but I remember thinking once Walter Cronkite was gone that there were very few real newsmen left. Dan Rather was a real newsman. There were a few left that hung in there, the guys who did the real hard-nosed journalism, the guys with the pad and the pencil behind. Well, Peter Jennings even was younger. I'm talking about the old guys, like guys our parents watched. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I remember the old news people who were hard-nosed after the fact, didn't care about politics, didn't care about who was trying to protect whom. It was real journalism. And I think our society is really lacking for people who ask really tough questions. And people like Bryant Gumbel, there's a recent name. Bryant Gumbel used to be one of those reporters that would dog a politician to death. It was like a dog with a bone. If he was on a story, he wouldn't softball anything. It was all serious journalism. He wanted to get the facts, and there was nobody threatening the networks, well, if you ask these questions, we won't come back. Politicians didn't have that luxury back then. Now, anybody can raise their hand and say, you've got, that question is over the line, and they can walk away. And I don't understand how we've let people get away without answering questions. And I mean anybody who is trying to run any portion of our government. Why are we complacent to just let these people slide? And when I say we, I'm talking about the journalists that are out there now. These people are supposed to be our advocate to find out what these people are really about. And these people are so well protected, it's unbelievable. And listen, I'm a bleeding heart liberal. I don't give a shit. I'm all about peace and love and guns. I actually like guns. I'm not 100% like tree hugging, but I respect those that are, because I would rather be around people to the left of me than the right of me. You know what I mean? So, but the fact of the matter is, you still want the truth. If you don't want to turn a blind eye and just be told what to do, part of my problem with the church, where it's like, well, the priest or the pastor will interpret for me, and that is the information I will walk through. What you're forgetting is that priest or pastor is still a human being. And even in the pagan traditions, We have people that do interpret certain things for us, but it is always left up to the individual to decide. The church is not so forgiving on that. They, it's this way and that's the only way, and freedom of thought is a theory to these people. I just went off on a tangent. I apologize.
No.
I haven't ranted. It's been so long since I've had a rant that I apologize in advance. I will shut up during the interview, and Taliesin and you guys can handle it, but it's just been so long since we've been on the air, and all these things are bothering me.
Oh yeah, no, don't even worry about that. That's what we do. I just really wish that people would wake up from this comatose state that they're in. The people who vote against their own self-interest, like, these religious Republicans in the country. I live up in the country, and, here's something that really made me think about what's happened to the country. Do you remember not too long ago when the Confederate flag was lowered and removed from the South Carolina State House? Okay. So it was determined, and rightfully so, that the Confederate flag may not really be an appreciated item to see by a large populace of the country. Okay? Yeah. There are a lot more people who would not like to see a Confederate flag flying over a government state house, and it's kind of been made to be known that this symbol is not publicly appreciated. Well, after that flag was lowered, I went back to it. I had been staying in the city. I went back to the country, and all of a sudden, where they had never been flown before, all of these Confederate flags were out on individuals' property, hanging, like the flag, hanging. And you're allowed to do what you want to do on your own property, and many people disagree with me. They're like, well, it's about heritage, it's not about hate. And I'm thinking, well, sometimes things get co-opted in such a way that even though it may not have intentionally started that way in a spirit of hate, there is now a negative connotation. And perhaps it's time to put your big person panties on and maybe be a little more respectful of the world around you and not just what the fuck your little brain wants to have happen. But these people, line rows and rows and rows of them on the road, just lines with Confederate flags. And my feeling, let me just finish this thought. My feeling was not that I was afraid, but these people have now successfully identified themselves, and I know to avoid these locations. So, by stating your proudness, or your pride rather, in your Confederacy, I just know that you would string me up by my ankles, drown me, lynch me, or burn me alive if you were given the opportunity. So you will be the people I will avoid. Thank you. Thank you for pointing yourselves out. I appreciate you. So that's my takeaway from that. Okay, I should be afraid? No. I just know that these people are not people that I wish to purchase from or deal with. Thank you very much, and have a lovely motherfucking day. Exactly. I can appreciate that. I'm like, okay, thank you for pointing yourself out, or the certain bumper stickers and stuff like that. It's like, okay, well, thank you for acknowledging publicly so I can avoid you. Although, I did, and I was telling you a little bit about this before, and then we will segue into the debates, because that's what started this conversation. I went to, and please don't sue me because this is free advertising, but we just had a Popeyes open. It's a chicken place. It's sort of like Church's or, like Bojangles or whatever. but we had one open down the street, and it was like, so I went and I grabbed dinner, something quick before the show. And oh my God, they were out the door. It was awesome, but this was their opening weekend. So I was standing there waiting for them to call my order, and a nice older gentleman, came up, and he was like, "Oh, are you in line?" I said, "No, I'm waiting for my food." And I scooted over so he could put his drinks down, so he didn't have to stand there holding them. Conversation proceeded nicely, and then he asked me about the debates, if I watched them, and I said, "Well, I didn't watch them, but I listened to them." I said, and halfway through, we had to turn it off because I was yelling at my husband's phone, and he didn't appreciate it because I was getting loud, so I had to remove myself from the situation. And, he said, of course, we are in the South, and they think nothing of starting a religious conversation. Oh, well, I just think if they get, a nice Christian folk in there and they get Christian people behind them. I said, but not everybody in this country is Christian, so I don't agree with that. You know, and he was like, oh, and he wasn't mad. He wasn't like angry, but, it was just the continual, oh, I'm going to nice you into coming to my church. And it's like, no. Then this guy had the audacity, because I said, I'm not Christian, sir. And I said, I'm pagan. And he goes, oh, well, I was a pagan too before I became Christian. I said, you were a witch too? And I looked at him like he was smoking crack. And he goes, well, I was pagan. I said, okay, you know what? I'm not getting into this.
The motorcycle, the pagans are a motorcycle gang, honey.
Oh, okay. I didn't think about that. Yeah, well, no. I was just like looking at him like, okay, crazy mister. But yeah, I couldn't get out of there quick enough because he was continually, they don't take no for an answer. It's like, you are not a sergeant and you are not fucking recruiting me. If I wanted to go to your church, I would be there. Just, gets on my nerves, but it's like you can't yell at an old man in a fast food restaurant. So that was nice as possible, and I explained to him. And I said, oh, yeah. I said, actually, my former high priest, I said, and he's a friend of the family. We still care about him very much. He headed the interfaith group that was at the Lincoln County council meeting. I said, where they said the Muslim prayer. I said, he heads that group up. He's the Wiccan priest. He's like, oh, okay. He kind of slowed down a little bit, but it's like, they just think nothing of it, but I digress. So the debate, since I didn't listen to all of it, my sister was brave enough to do so. Did you break your TV?
Oh, well, no, I didn't break the TV, but I'll tell you what, it was interesting. And I have to admit that the attacks on Hillary, although, they're assuming a lot because we haven't even had a debate. We certainly aren't near the primaries yet. And we don't know 100% for a fact, and I know I'm probably going to get disagreed with by our guest tonight, but that's okay. It's so facto, it's Hillary, come on, let's just get with the program. And they're, the attacks on her were not as virulent as I thought that they would be. They were a lot more interested in beating each other up, which I found quite amusing. Donald Trump, honey, he's a gift to the Democratic Party because he's so inappropriate. This just shows you the mindset of people. People. The whole thing with GWB, George the younger idiot. everyone liked him because he was the one that everybody wanted to have a beer with. But as I was reminded of recently, that was a non-starter because at the point that he was running for president, he wasn't drinking anymore. He's a recovering alcoholic. So that whole idea of sitting back on a ranch and kicking it with George and having a brewski in your hand was never going to happen. Even if you got to meet him, it wasn't going to happen. So that was kind of funny. And then the whole thing about Jeb being Jeb, it's like he even said himself a while back, we don't need another Bush in the White House. Motherfucker,
and we certainly don't.
Where was the turnaround in your brain that told you that that was no longer the correct answer? You had proven you were smart by saying that, and now you have backtracked and made yourself look like of your family. That's a disappointment. I will tell you, Trump came out guns a-blazing, and everybody thinks he's like, you know, your cosmopolitan but still redneck uncle. He's kind of crazy. He insulted Megyn Kelly, who was the female panelist that was, you know, delivering these questions. And I actually felt bad for her. Not that I am a supporter of Fox in any way, shape, or form. Don't email me, please. But quite frankly, he was an asshole to her, you know, because she dared to mention that he called women fat and ugly and stupid. And to his credit, he calls everybody fat, ugly, and stupid. So, you know, but he was specifically attacking her. And, it was just ridiculous. And I just sat there and looked at the TV and said, no, you didn't. And, yeah, motherfucker did. It was pretty startling. The only truly articulate people of the night, and I just got to say, John Kasich seems to be a Christian who actually practices his faith. So that's a point for John Kasich. And Chris Christie. Go, Jersey, go.
Oh, no. That motherfucker pulled out 9/11. That was pathetic. That was fucking pathetic. And that was actually the point that I think we wound up turning it off because I was screaming at the phone. I was like, did he just... I mean, I won't emulate my volume here, but I was quite upset about that.
Well, I understand that. And being from New York, I understand it better than a lot of people. My whole family worked in one of those locations at different times. I mean, my family has a long history with the World Trade Center. Fortunately, my father died before that happened, and the rest of us were safely, for the most part, in North Carolina, except for all of the friends we had and grew up with. And, brothers of friends died. We suffered indirect loss. I can't say we suffered loss directly, but it still hurts. It still hits you. My cousin was supposed to be in a meeting that day. Mhm. But aside from all of that, I'm only talking about the debates. I'm not saying that Chris Christie should be president. I'm just saying who is articulate. No. The only two I would have trusted with anything, if they even had the ability to become president, would have been Kasich or Chris Christie, because I understand where Christie's coming from. And as far as John Kasich, even though I am not a Christian, I respect someone who holds the tenets of their religion as a real thing. This is what I believe. This is what I practice. This is the works of my life, or these are the works of my life based on my belief. That I respect, and you don't have to be the same faith as I am for me to respect that. Exactly. But you've got to live what you preach, I was having this conversation last week with my housemate about, do you believe really, and what do you do to practice your faith on a daily basis? Because a lot of people, as we know, give lip service to Christianity, but they're not really there. They're just being told what to do. They're like little lemmings, and they follow suit. And I will say, honestly, the same thing for the pagan community. There are many, and I mean many, a large portion that give lip service to the faith, our faith.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's not just fluffy bunnies that I'm talking about. And, you know, fluffy bunny is a term I mostly use in my own head, because it's not for me to say someone's a fluffy bunny, but you judge what you see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm talking about people that just, you know, yes, I've been this for many, many years, and, you know, Esbats, Sabbath, we do the whole thing. But for me, magic as a Wiccan is a daily life thing. You have to do the work, and it's work.
Yeah.
Believe me. Paganism of any kind, if you are following any distinct path. I'm Wiccan. I follow those traditions. Oh, side note, I don't know what a Wiccan ritual killing is. I would run for the fucking hills if any of my fellow members would say that they know what a Wiccan ritual. Well, that's what I'm saying. If anyone ever said to me, I know what a Wiccan ritual killing is, I would run so fucking far from that person, it would make your head spin, their head spin, and my head spin as I was running away. Because we do not do that shit. Understand?
Exactly.
I know you do. There you go.
And so, on that note, our guest is in the queue, so let's bring him on. Yes. And
hello.
How you doing?
You know, hey, I just want to say for the record, I know exactly what a Wiccan ritual killing is. We kill off several bottles of good wine during a really good ritual.
Thank you. Amen. No more.
Yes.
There you go.
Exactly. There you go. Hey, I'm doing good. Getting over the tail end of a cold here, but other than that, I'm keep on keeping on. You know.
Yay!
Excellent.
So,
excellent. Party on.
Is your TV still intact?
Well, I don't have cable, so I found a website that bootlegged the broadcast.
Oh, okay.
And as it was, I wound up watching highlights because I had a date with a circle of friends and some really tasty ganja, and it's just like, you know, that's just way more life affirming than listening to these ass clowns talk. So I wound up watching a lot of highlights, and oh god, fucking hilarious. Oh goodness, not you know, certain things surprised me. I thought Trump was going to be a lot more aggressive, but I think you're just kind of vibing out the field. I thought he was going to go after the other people on stage more, but I think he was vibing out the field and seeing how these people actually act in front of TV cameras. I'd expect a much more aggressive assault from Trump against his fellow debaters come the September debate, actually.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Oh yeah. I think that. You know, the people who were debating last night, that debate changed absolutely nothing for the vast majority of them. I think, if anything, it might make some of those mushy moderates who can't back Bush take a second look at John Kasich. Although, you know, I live in Ohio. Okay, John Kasich is the governor, and once you get beyond his platitudes on gay marriage, the guy really is a weasel. The guy used a state budget to enact a lot of strong abortion restrictions in the middle of the night without telling anybody that they were doing it. Him and the Republicans in the legislature decided to do that kind of under the cover of darkness. They put several things in there, including harsh anti-abortion measures, into the state budget at about 3:30 in the morning so it could be voted on at 8 a.m. the next day. And and then he could sign it just a few hours later. So the guy really is a weasel. It's just the fact of the matter is that the guy is a weasel in a blue state. So he kind of has to watch his back, especially since most of the Republicans in the legislature completely hate him. So he's got a lot of long knives that are ready to flip out the moment that he gives them an opening to do so. So the guy's going to be very cautious.
Yeah.
Well, all right, then let me retract my support there for saying that the man was living what he believed. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize the whole abortion situation. Thank you for clearing me up on that. Okay,
there's nothing like, living in the state that the guy's trying to govern, you know what I mean?
That's true. Thank you.
Yeah, and living in Ohio is proof that even having a Republican majority in the legislature and the governorship doesn't mean that they'll even get the bad things done, because they just fucking hate each other. So it's actually a comedy of errors quite often. Kasich wound up having to do an end run around the legislature to accept the Obamacare, Medicare, Medicaid expansion. He had to use parliamentary maneuvers to do that, which that right there would doom him if he ever climbed out of 9th or 10th place in the Republican primary. So the fact that he accepted the dreaded Obamacare Medicaid expansion and saved his state millions of dollars in tax money is enough to doom him once he climbs above like 8th or 9th place. So, and the fact of the matter is, the people who came across most eloquent last night are the people who just barely scraped their way into the debate. Christie and Kasich, as of last week, were not sure bets to even make it into the varsity and then to the big people's table at the Fox debates last night. So
true. That's true.
I mean, the fact that these guys have been polling so abysmally shows you something about the Republican debate audience, the Republican primary audience. And then the fact that Trump is just doing so goddamn well right now.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I don't get it. I mean, I do to an extent, because I've seen some of the people who, are of this mind frame. But what is it about him that they absolutely love? Is it the fact that he's mean? Is it the fact that he's totally un-PC? Which, yes, I am in the camp. I'm kind of middle ground. It's like, don't purposely go saying offensive shit, but don't get offended by every fucking thing.
Right.
There's no law against being offended. But
this comes to my central theme as to why I think, despite what the people in the Republican Party are saying and what the pundit class are saying, I think Donald Trump has a better than average chance of actually nabbing the Republican nomination. And that comes down to the fact. Well, I see, and that comes down to the fact as to why he's doing so well. The thing about the Republican Party is, ever since they decided to start bringing the white Southern racists who used to be Democrats back in the 50s, they started bringing them into the Republican Party in the 70s. It was called the Southern Strategy. Excuse me. And ever since they brought these people in and made them part of their Republican base, Republican politicians have always had to give shout-outs to the more extreme racist elements in America to keep them in line. But what they do for a long time is they do things known as dog whistles, certain phrases and words that were meant to signal to, say, the racists that the party was still with them and they still shared their values, without coming right out and saying that bluntly, to give them some level of plausible deniability. A great example of that was Ronald Reagan's welfare queens, where he tells stories about these women in their fur coats driving their Cadillacs down to the welfare office to pick up their check. Now, they would describe it like that, and whenever anybody would say, hey, isn't that kind of racist, they would say, well, of course not. It doesn't matter what color you are. If you're abusing the system, you're abusing the system, yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, the racists who that was meant for would have a picture in their head of a black woman in a fur coat driving a Cadillac down to the welfare office and that sort of thing. It wasn't an accident. And that's the kind of dog whistle terminology that they would use to basically keep telling the racists that, that they're still welcome, they share their values, but still giving them some degree of plausible deniability in ways that would actually work with the clueless white people who weren't necessarily the hardcore racists, but had been raised in enough of a bubble of white privilege to not see the racism for exactly what it was. Now the thing is that for a long time, actually, can I hold you guys on for a moment? My wife's trying to beep it on the other line. It may be important. Let me come right back to you for a moment.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so I thought that was our stuff beeping like that. I did not
Me
realize.
too. I was checking my phone.
I was checking mine too. I'm like, wait a minute, nobody's trying to call my happy ass right now. What the fuck is that about? But anyway.
Well, I occasionally
okay.
get that.
Do you?
Yeah. I'm like, now you know I'm on the air. Why are you calling me? I forgot.
Seriously.
Okay, I'm back. My wife was going to a drum circle at the local UU church, and she couldn't find it, but now she found it. So there you go.
Awesome. Cool.
But no, the thing is that the thing is though, even though the big time party people and the big time major league candidates, like the presidential candidates, the Senate candidates, and that sort of thing, would use these code words and dog whistles to appeal to the racists. The rise of right-wing talk radio has given voice to people who don't use code words, who don't use dog whistles, so people whose racism is very obvious, and they let their stars and bars racist freak flag fly. And the callers, and it's mainly the callers, the listeners who call into these talk radio shows, who talk in ways that are very undelicate and very much, very, very blunt. And a lot of these folks for a while have been saying that one of the problems with politicians is they talk in circles, they don't say what they mean, and they always want somebody who, in their terms, they say that they want somebody who tells it like it is, who isn't afraid to offend liberals, who doesn't do PC, basically somebody who's going to go full bore unapologetic racist. And they were hoping that a couple of people this cycle would do that. They were hoping that Rand Paul might do that, because Rand Paul has this tendency to like to employ neo-Confederates and people who write for Stormfront and all the racist blogs. But he is too busy trying to win over the Republican establishment to actually go full-bore racist. They were hoping Ted Cruz would do that, but Ted Cruz tries too hard to create this image as a genteel Southern gentleman, so he wasn't going to go full-bore racist. Donald Trump is talking the language of right-wing talk radio listeners. When he comes out and says that the Mexicans who are coming into this country are rapists and criminals and drug dealers, that's straight out of right-wing talk radio. That is right out of the comment section of every single right-wing blog. Whenever there's an article on civil rights, even at the mainstream websites like Huffington Post, you see these yahoos crawling out of the woodwork, slithering out from underneath their rocks to do the whole full-bore racist bullshit. And these are the people who are flocking to Trump because he is being very, 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 very bald-faced. He's not using code words. He's not using dog whistles. He's being very, very obvious in this, and this is resonating with them. And this is actually why one of the things, there's a bunch of things that the Republican establishment is telling themselves to make themselves feel better about Trump's poll numbers. And the vast majority of what they're telling themselves, like the vast majority of what they tell the American people, is bullshit. And one thing that they've been saying that Trump's numbers are because of name recognition and people aren't really familiar with the field and that sort of thing. The problem is that Trump's name was included in Republican polls going back until last year. And they included him because he kept saying that he was thinking of running. And so when they would poll big names that were thinking of running. So they included Trump in all these polls. And before he announced for the presidency, Trump was included in these polls, and he pulled somewhere around 8th, 9th, 10th place. He'd get like somewhere between 5 and 6% max of the poll numbers. And that was the poll numbers of people who didn't recognize any other names in the field, but they recognized Donald Trump's name, so they'd say, oh, hell yeah, why not him? I at least know who he is. His poll numbers where he started getting into the 20s and even the low 30% didn't happen until after he announced, until after he started talking, until after he went full-bore racist when he started talking about how he was going to build a wall in between the U.S. and Mexico and make the Mexican government pay for it and all that crap. It was after he started talking that he started picking up these 25, 28, 30% poll numbers. So in other words, it's not name recognition. The people in the Republican base are listening to what he says, and they like what he says. And that is why they're responding to him. Now,
that's scary.
Yeah, that makes it even more sad and pathetic, actually.
Yeah.
However, to explain why, even though people say it's early, he's still only getting 25%, yada, yada, yada. The reason why this should worry the establishment types is past phenomena. Now, people have asked me a lot of times if the Republican base is so right-wing and so conservative and so batshit crazy, how did the Republicans wind up with John McCain and Mitt Romney as their last two candidates? Because they weren't good people, they weren't good candidates, but you can honestly say that they weren't batshit crazy. And that's really because what happened in the last couple of cycles is the last couple of cycles, the Republican establishment would look at everybody who was going to run, and they would pick somebody who they decided was, in their minds, the most electable, i.e., the least batshit crazy out of the bunch, and they would back them early. And the thing is that they would go to the moderates in the Republican Party, even though the moderates are still a minority in the party. They would say, "Look, you got nobody else. This is the only person who's not batshit crazy. You should back them." And the moderates would look at McCain or Romney, and they'd say, "Well, yeah, they definitely are the least batshit crazy," so they would back them. And so they would start polling somewhere between 19, 20, 23% early on. The batshit crazy part of the electorate would split their vote over 5, 6, 7, 8 different candidates. Like last time, some of them would back Herman Cain, some of them like Rick, don't Google my name, Santorum, some of them like Michelle Bachmann, and that sort of thing. And they would dilute their support over multiple people. The establishment pick would have a small but steady lead that would not go away. And then after the caucuses and the primaries started and some of these other candidates started to drop out, the establishment would go to these people, supporters, and say, "Look, your guy lost, they dropped out, this person has been leading this whole time, that shows that they're the most electable, you should back them." And reluctantly, a lot of times, they would. And that's how they would wind up with John McCain in 2008 and Mitt Romney in 2012. I mean, it didn't start out that way. I mean, the last two Iowa caucuses were won by Mike Huckabee and Mr. Frothy himself, Rick Santorum. So that would show you that, early on, the batshit crazy would try to assert themselves, but the establishment would win. But right now, at this point in the past, 25, 26% is where people like McCain and Romney would be, and that's where the establishment expected Jeb Bush to be. The thing is that the moderates are not buying Jeb Bush. They're not buying Jeb Bush mainly because his last name is Bush. I mean, when I talk about Jeb in my workshops, I call him Jeb because he doesn't want you to say his last name. I keep maintaining Jeb's last name could be Hitler, and he'd have a better chance of winning the nomination than with a name like Bush. Jeb Hitler, 2016, kind of sounds better to most people than Jeb Bush. And so the moderates have not backed him. They've been splitting their votes amongst several different people. A lot of people they don't know, but they're just looking for anyone but Bush. And so that's why Bush has been polling in the low teens, and he hasn't been able to break out of it. But I'll tell you, before Trump got in the race, the person who was leading the polls was undecided. It was undecided was running at 20%, and that was the only slot that was running that high. Now Trump is in there, and he's polling at anywhere from 23 to 31%, depending on which poll you do. And he is sitting where the establishment pick used to sit now. If he stays at that point and nobody can come up even close to him, by the time other candidates start dropping out, you could see a situation where their supporters are like, well, my guy didn't win. This guy's been leading the whole time. He's definitely not a mealy mouth or shrinking violet type. He's very blunt and tells it like it is. They could start flocking to Trump, especially since Trump has started to make a play for the evangelical vote. He's trying to expand his appeal outside of the crazy A racist because he's backing Ted Cruz's crazy plan to shut down the government to try to defund Planned Parenthood. And this is a purely naked pander to the right-wing extremist evangelical religious nut jobs in the Republican Party. But if Trump can start pulling some of those people away from Huckabee and Santorum and all that, then you could start seeing him polling in the low 40s. And once that happens, then he's officially the front runner, and then he's going to be much more difficult to take out.
So you don't think Machine Gun Bacon is enough to beat Trump?
You don't think what?
Machine Gun Bacon?
Well, the hell of it is that Ted Cruz is one of the only Republicans who is being nice to Donald Trump. Ted Cruz is saying wonderful things about Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is coming right back and saying wonderful things about Ted Cruz. Now, when Rachel Maddow first covered Ted Cruz's announcement for president, she said that tonight Ted Cruz launched his campaign for the vice presidency of the United States. She never really thought that he could wind up actually getting the nomination, but if he could get enough support, he could wind up being seen as a right-wing balancer to a more establishment type. Let's say if Jeb Bush or Scott Walker or somebody like that decided they needed to shore up their right flank, they could do what Romney did. Romney picked Paul Ryan. I think Ted Cruz was hoping that one of these other guys would pick him to run for vice president as a way of shoring up their right flank. I actually think that what we could wind up seeing, if Trump gets the nomination, he could wind up picking Ted Cruz as his VP, and every Democrat in the country is going to be dancing naked under the moonlight, offering up sacrifices of wine and incense, saying, thank you, thank you, thank you for giving us this incredible gift.
Right?
Oh, wow.
Because I've been saying all along that the Republicans don't have a good candidate. They have a choice between picking a poor candidate who will lose and a catastrophically poor candidate who will not only lose, but they'll be a drag on the rest of the ticket and could make a lot of House races that are currently not competitive because of gerrymandering. They could make them competitive by driving down Republican turnout. And let me tell you, a Trump Cruz ticket, that could just be the thing that does it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it sounds like either way we win.
Well,
no matter
see,
which way they
think
go.
about Trump. Trump is not going to self-destruct. All the Republicans are saying, how long before Trump self-destructs? He's not going to self-destruct. The guy is a very media-savvy guy. He understands television. He understands pop culture. Everything he is doing is calculated. A lot of commentators are saying, Trump has just attacked John McCain. That's it. His campaign's done. Because who would dare attack John McCain? Most Republicans in the base fucking hate John McCain. They view him as a wishy-washy Republican in name only. They don't think he's a true conservative. Attacking John McCain only made Trump's numbers go up. So everything he is doing is a thumb in the eye of the Republican establishment, which also picking Ted Cruz would be too, because let's face it, Ted Cruz is probably the most hated man in Washington, because not only do the Democrats not like him, most Republicans hate him too. But, everything he's doing is...
Was it McConnell sent him to stand out in the hallway? After it pissed him off or something? Didn't Mitch McConnell, send him to stand in the hallway so he couldn't interrupt?
No, that was actually Darrell Issa. Darrell Issa went to a Benghazi hearing that was a closed Benghazi hearing because he couldn't stand the fact that he wasn't on the Benghazi committee anymore. And he got thrown out by Trey Gowdy.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
So I'll tell you, Republicans, they take Donald Trump not seriously at their own peril, because last night's debate, Bush was horrendous. I mean, he was just bad. He came off like Mr. Rogers on Quaaludes. He was just fucking horrible. Really? And the thing is, in order to take down Donald Trump, somebody's going to have to out-tough guy him. somebody's going to have to tear him down and make him look like a pathetic little child. And I really don't see anybody in that group that has the capability of doing that. I mean, Christie might, but Trump's going to be able to level Christie at the knees because Republicans hate him so much. If Christie was in a better position, he might be able to do that. But Christie is like one of the most hated guys ever because of the fact that he gave Barack Obama a hug, which is one of, the biggest cardinal sins you could possibly do if you're a Republican. And Ted Cruz might be able to take him down, but Ted Cruz is the Donald's best friend. So it's like in the campaigns these days. But nobody else there. Scott Walker isn't going to be able to do it. That guy is just flounders in front of an audience. I'll tell you, the only person who would have been able to seriously tear down Donald Trump would have been Rick Santorum, because for all of his failures as a human being and all his failures as a human, the guy is probably one of the most natural speakers in the entire Republican field. I mean, the guy can talk off the cuff extremely well. He really knows how to connect with Republican voters. And if they really want to take down Donald Trump, they're going to change their debate rules to let Rick into the big table debate because he's really one of the only ones left who could possibly stand up to Donald Trump and tear him down. The more Donald Trump goes up there and makes everyone else look like dancing monkeys, the worse it's going to be for the entire field.
Right.
That's good for
I mean, you watch in the next debate. I think in the next debate, I think Trump's going to go after Bush hard. And what he's going to do is going to catch Jeb in a catch-22. Because I think Trump is going to go after Bush Sr. and W. and really launch into them. And if Jeb actually rises to the bait and comes to their defense, then Trump's going to pull out the whole, well, you're defending somebody who wrecked the country and wrecked the party, and and the only time you've ever had a spirited thing to say is when you're defending, George W. Bush. We don't need another Bush, and he's going to level him for that. If Jeb doesn't take the bait and doesn't come to the defense of his brother and his father, then Trump's going to come out and say, hey, this guy doesn't even have the backbone to stand up to me to defend his family. How's he going to defend the country against ISIS? And, I mean, I can just see him totally laying that trap for Jeb. So, I mean, you'll know that Trump's serious about wanting to put these guys away when he starts doing stuff like that, or if he starts attacking Scott Walker on just how abysmally Wisconsin is doing economically in the country to his face instead of just on the campaign trail.
Wow.
I've got a quick question.
Sure.
I've heard it mentioned a few times from both sides of the aisle, whether Donald Trump is actually a Democratic plant.
And then you have that story coming out about the phone call he had with Bill Clinton right before he announced.
Oh, really? I haven't heard that one.
Oh yeah, that just came out a couple of days ago, like the day before the Republican debate. It turns out that about a week before Donald Trump announced his candidacy for the presidency for the Republican Party, he had like an hour-long phone conversation with Bill Clinton, and he had actually called Bill several times to get a conversation with him, and Bill finally called him back, and they spent an hour on the phone talking.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And Bill and Bill's people are saying that they didn't talk about the campaign layout specifically, but more about how Donald was talking about how he wanted to get into the race to be a voice for the Republican base that he didn't think the Republican base had right then, and just kind of vibing out, what it was like to run for president and all that kind of stuff. So that's certainly going to get the conspiracy tongues wagging, especially since when you consider that in polling matchups of Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump, Hillary not only wins all the states Barack Obama did, but she also wins Georgia and fucking Mississippi. We're talking the first time Mississippi would go for a Democrat since the Civil Rights era.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yes. I mean, the threshold for a complete blowout electorally is the 400 electoral vote threshold. You need 270 to win the presidency. Democrats start out with about a 257 vote advantage in the electoral college before the campaigns even start, just when you take a look at hard red and hard blue states. So a Democratic candidate only needs 13 electoral votes to win the presidency. So a lot of people are saying that this next race is going to be decided in the Democratic primary. But Hillary could easily get over 400 electoral votes against Donald Trump. Hell, even Bernie Sanders gets close to 400 against Donald Trump. So that's just a blowout of epic proportions.
Yeah, and speaking of Bernie Sanders, and we love Bernie, of course, but I hear a lot of people arguing about why should we assume that Hillary will be the nominee. So if you would just do that quick rundown, I'd sure appreciate it for my friends and family who are listening.
Well, the thing is that Bernie is doing well in the polls right now. He's doing better than a lot of people expected. He's doing about as well as I expect, to tell you the truth. I think some of the early prognostications of the feelings of his support were a little conservative and underplayed things a little bit. I mean, just because there is a really strong progressive activist base in the Democratic Party, and they immediately latched onto Bernie as soon as he announced. Now, the thing that you have to remember, though, is that as well as Bernie is doing in the polls, he's doing well in places where he would be expected to do well, but he's not putting together the kind of coalition that he would need in order to win the nomination. I mean, the fact of the matter is that most of Bernie Sanders' support is coming from white liberal activists within the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party is far more diverse than the Republican Party. There's a lot more African Americans and Latinos and Asian Americans and that sort of thing in the Democratic Party. And in order to really win the nomination, you need to have a coalition that is more all-inclusive. Now, Bernie's doing very well in Iowa and New Hampshire right now. He could even win Iowa and New Hampshire. The thing is that Iowa's Democratic Party is 95% white. New Hampshire is about 93% white. And also New Hampshire, that's his backyard. I mean, they've known about Bernie in New Hampshire longer than most of the country has. And the fact of the matter, and I just saw a poll come out today that Bernie's doing very well in Oregon. Again, Oregon is not nearly as diverse, and also these states aren't as populous and don't have as many delegates as the more diverse states do. The fact of the matter is that if somebody can win New York, Florida, Texas, and California in the Democratic primaries, just with those four states, they have half of the delegates that they need to secure the Democratic nomination, just with those four states. And in those four states, if you're not winning the African-American vote or the Latino vote or both, you're not going to win those states. And right now, Hillary is way ahead in all of those states. I mean, Bernie's doing well, and I think we're in a great position to get a lot of Bernie's ideas and his principles into the Democratic platform and adopted by Democratic candidates this time around. And that would really do a lot to get these really, really good ideas into the legislative calendar come the next time around, especially if we can have a candidate like Trump to run against and have a chance of taking back large chunks of the House of Representatives as well. That really gives us a chance to enact this agenda. But I mean, as of right now, Bernie's doing well, but he's not breathing down Hillary's neck in a way that would really be meaningful or really threatening. It's definitely not the same story that we saw in 2008 in the Barack Obama-Hillary Clinton drama, because Barack Obama, yeah, he ran to her left and he picked up a lot of progressives, but what really put him over the top was winning the African-American vote. And right now, that is, I mean, Bernie's only polling about 9% with African-Americans and only about 8% with Latino Democrats. And again, in large chunks of the country, if you don't have those groups on your side, you're not going to win the nomination.
And I really liked what he was saying about, and I cannot find the word in my head. I think I'm suffering from Alzheimer's. But he just came out and was basically saying that, he wanted to get money out of government, saying that he wanted
public financing of campaigns is what he's. he's talking about public
Exactly.
financing of campaigns. Yeah.
Do we have any hope of other Democratic nominees adopting that?
Well, already
Because
Hillary Clinton has said that
awesome.
she wants. Hillary Clinton already came out even before Bernie got in the race and said one of the pillars of her candidacy is overturning Citizens United. That's step one. Overturning Citizens United is step one. And she even said that if we need to do a constitutional amendment as introduced by Bernie Sanders to do it, that's what she would back as president. She would back that constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United if it didn't look like we were going to have any Supreme Court vacancies that would turn the tables that way. So whichever way, basically your attitude is whichever way is quicker. Either get new people on the Supreme Court who are going to overturn Citizens United or do the constitutional amendment. Or basically the way that you do that is start pushing the constitutional amendment first, and that would take several years, even at a really fast pace, and see if in that intervening time you can overturn it other ways. But she's already committed to doing that. And tell you the truth, yeah.
Oh, no, I was going to ask, somebody else asked if she could keep Virginia blue.
Yes, I think she won't have any problems keeping Virginia blue just because of, again, her incredible pull with the African-American community and especially with young professionals. Really, I mean, really what's turned Virginia blue is the northern part of Virginia. A lot of the people, the influx from northeastern states, which are extremely liberal. They've been moving into Virginia at a very quick rate. And I think that Virginia, even though it's still considered a swing state, I think we might as well start calling Virginia a blue state, especially when you consider that in 2014, when, you know, every other swing state race had a Republican winning it, the Democrat won there. And the Democrat won there without even campaigning that hard. I mean, in 2014, when only Republicans showed up to vote, Democrats only lost a single seat in the Virginia State Assembly, a single seat. And the fact that the Democrats in an off election year in 2013 won the governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general spots in a year, again, which heavily favored Republicans, they still won. So I think we can safely say that Virginia is a blue state, and if you count Virginia as a blue state, then Democrats start off with 270 electoral votes in the bank before the campaign even starts. That's 270 out of 270 that you need to win the presidency. So really, the 2016 race is going to be decided in the Democratic primary. The only question about the Republican primary is, are they going to nominate a bad candidate who will lose or a catastrophically bad candidate that will be a drag on the ticket in other states?
I do have a question about Citizens United.
Sure.
As we all know, when someone is running to be the president, they have all these fabulous ideas. But let me also point out, Barack Obama, our president, wanted to close Guantanamo Bay and hasn't been able to do it. So let me ask you this. If Hillary is elected and she gets a Republican Congress, isn't she still going to be subjected to the same gridlock on all of these issues that she wants to change?
She will, except for one place, and that is the fact of, for one thing, the Senate is going to go back Democratic. In 2014, when the Republicans took the Senate, Democrats had to defend 14 seats in red or purple states. In this year, in a presidential year, in 2016, Republicans are going to be having to defend 18 Senate seats in blue or purple swing states. So Democrats only have to win 4 seats. With a Democrat in the White House, they only have to win 4 seats to take back the Senate because that makes it 50-50, and the vice president can break any ties, and the vice president would be a Democrat. They only need to win 5 seats to get a clear majority. They would need to win 14 out of the 18 seats to get a filibuster-proof majority. That's less likely, but pretty much everybody who knows how to add is saying that the Democrats are going to take the Senate back. Now, this is extremely important because the one way that we can overturn Citizens United is the fact that we've got so many Supreme Court justices in their 70s and 80s, and these people are going to start retiring soon. And as they retire, having Hillary in there as president and a Democratic Senate means that we are going to be able to get the kind of people on the bench who will vote to overturn Citizens United. And once we get the votes, all it takes is to launch a lawsuit in the states, work it up through the courts. I think it would go very quickly. So challenging this sort of thing. So that's the quickest and easiest way. Even if we saw a Republican House, that's the quickest and easiest way to overturn things like Citizens United and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to know.
Right.
Speaking of
and also,
Vice President, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. What were you going to say about VP?
There's a lot of talk about Joe Biden running for president because it was his son's dying wish.
Right.
But I don't see that as a real possibility as far as him being able.
Right.
Is it legal to have someone run for VP with an indeterminate amount of time? Is there the same term limit on vice presidencies as there are on presidencies?
No. The only term limiting that was done was to the president. And so you could have Hillary have Joe Biden be VP again if she wanted to and if he wanted to. I personally would be entirely in favor of electing Joe Biden vice president for life. The guy's fucking awesome.
Yes.
But there's absolutely nothing stopping her from having him be her VP if she wanted it. Although I personally think still that I still think that Amy Klobuchar is being groomed as a possible VP choice, giving the Democrats the first entirely all-female ticket in American electoral history.
I see that, but by the same token, it took us so long to get an African-American man, and it's funny because he's the first real African-American that I actually know.
Yeah.
So you can definitely say that is who he is, which is beautiful.
Right.
But so it took us so long to get that. Aren't we trying to gild the lily and may shoot ourselves in the foot with an all-female ticket? Mind you, I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Not really, because the thing about the most important person is the person at the top of the ticket. A VP can hurt you; they can't really help you. But I don't think Amy Klobuchar would hurt anybody because she's just so goddamn well liked. She's a very likable person, and I think, and again, with the electoral advantage that Democrats have built in, you can have all kind of resistance in the red states. Wouldn't matter one bit, just because of the fact of the incredible, advantage that anybody with a D after their name. I mean, I'm telling you that even Martin O'Malley could beat any of these Republican candidates for president if something happened, and let's say if a meteor struck a place where Hillary and Bernie were at the same time. Martin O'Malley could beat any of these asshats in the Republican Party. Martin O'Malley could have Michael Moore as his vice president, and they could still beat these Republican idiots because of the incredible electoral advantage that the Democrats have. The biggest thing for me, back when, Bernie Sanders first got in the race, of course, I've been pumping up Hillary Clinton for the last couple of years, mainly because it's so fun to see Republican heads explode when you talk about another Clinton in the White House. But when Bernie Sanders first got involved in the race, I've always considered myself somebody who is persuadable. But for me, my metric for persuading me to support Bernie Sanders or anybody for the Democratic nomination is how well can this person unite the Democratic Party behind them. Because we not only need to win the White House, we need to have the kind of blowout victory that is going to put House seats in play. Because as I've said, we could have Elizabeth Warren as president, we could have Joe as vice president again, we could have Bernie Sanders in charge of the SEC and in charge of Wall Street, okay? And if we've got a shitty House and a shitty Senate, nothing gets done. Going back to your last point. If we have a shitty-ass Congress, nothing gets done. So we need to not only look at the presidency, we need to look at who can have coattails to bring as many people in to office behind them as humanly possible. As of right now on the Democratic side, that's Hillary Clinton, because not only can she pull a lot of support from the white folks in the Democratic Party, she can also unite African American, Latino, and Asian Americans behind her in a way that I just haven't seen Bernie Sanders be able to do yet. I love Bernie Sanders' economic platform. I love his ideas on economics. But economics, you cannot build an entire campaign around that. And also the fact that Bernie Sanders is repeating the sins of Howard Dean. Howard Dean, who was running in 2004 against John Kerry. Howard Dean, another person from Vermont, has put together a campaign staff that's entirely white and entirely male. There's no diversity on the inner circle. And that's not, I don't think that Bernie is racist or sexist or any of that. I just think it's short-sighted to have these people being the only ones advising him, or else he could have seen the problem that he had at Netroots Nation conference. He could have seen that coming. If he had had a more diverse staff, somebody could have took him aside and said, listen, you're going to a conference of activists. These are people who stir the shit for a living. You are going to have disruptions. And you're probably going to have disruptions from Black Lives Matter because they're talking about being a major force at Netroots Nation for months. Their plans to disrupt Netroots Nations and make a big stink they were talked about openly. It wasn't a surprise to anybody except for the Sanders people because they're not hooked in to the African American activists core in the Democratic Party. They're not hooked into the immigration reform activists in the Democratic Party. They're just not hooked into it, so they didn't see it coming. And a better staff could have better prepared him to deal with this stuff. Any speed bump that Bernie has hit in his campaign isn't so much his fault, but it's the fault of a staff that is too narrow and too focused and has too limited of an experience in Democratic politics. Vermont is not indicative of the rest of the country when it comes to the Democratic Party. Even though the economic message resonates with a lot of people, you can't just be a one-trick pony if you're going to expect to win a major party nomination.
Good point. Yeah.
And also, I want to get to a point, too. I know there's a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters probably out there listening to this. And when I was emailing Dorian, sorry. I was just reading Dorian Valiente before I called you guys, so I've got Doreen on the head. Right before I emailed you guys, I was just saying that, how Donald Trump could win the GOP nomination and what Bernie Sanders fans can do to help him win. And the biggest thing that I want to get across to Bernie Sanders fans right now is that far too many Bernie Sanders fans are not helping Bernie's campaign, even though they're passionate. Even though they're extremely dedicated, they are hurting Bernie's campaign right now. Because the big thing is that Bernie is running a grassroots campaign. Now, the obvious advantage of a grassroots campaign is that you've got a lot of extremely motivated and dedicated people. So that means even though he got out fundraised 3-1 by Hillary Clinton, that doesn't matter as much when you're running a grassroots campaign because you don't need as much of a huge war chest to run a grassroots campaign. But the thing, too, is that means that for most people who are potential Bernie Sanders supporters, people who are not supporting Bernie right now, but are potential Bernie Sanders supporters, the first point of contact for these people and the Sanders campaign is probably going to be a Bernie Sanders supporter. Somebody who's out there, talking about Bernie and trying to advance his agenda and all that. That's going to be the first point of contact. Every single Bernie Sanders supporter who speaks out about supporting Bernie Sanders has to think of themselves as an ambassador to the majority of the Democratic Party who is not behind Bernie Sanders right now. They're ambassadors to try to win these people over. And a lot of people are doing a really piss-poor job of it right now. Because you have to understand, Hillary Clinton is polling at somewhere between 55 and 70% in most national and state polls as far as support. That means that in order to win the nomination, Bernie Sanders does not just have to pick up undecideds. There's actually very few people who are expressly undecided in the Democratic primary, even this early on. In order to win, they're going to have to flip Hillary fans. And you are not going to win over a Hillary fan by bashing Hillary Clinton, by talking about how she's bad and a Wall Street pawn, and they start chanting Monsanto like it's some sort of evil word or something like that. It's just not going to happen. Bashing Hillary is only going to take that person and turn them off from Sanders' message and from anything good that he has to say. It's going to turn somebody from a Hillary supporter into a Bernie hater if they keep running across obnoxious people who are doing nothing but bashing Hillary Clinton. And I'll tell you, I mean, Daily Kos right now, the diary section of Daily Kos is a cesspool. It really is. It's people who are just, coming out and saying that if you're not supporting Bernie Sanders, you might as well be a Republican, and just all this really nasty, hateful shit that is really, I'll tell you, if once Bernie plateaus, I think it's going to happen. Once his support hits a certain point and stops growing, I think that part of that is going to be able to be laid at the feet of Bernie Sanders supporters who are just being fucking obnoxious. So you cannot bash Hillary Clinton. And if somebody comes up with a subject that Bernie isn't strong on, this has happened to me. I was staying out of the whole Hillary versus Bernie thing and just kind of letting it play out. But then I started to hear things about Bernie's inconsistent history on gun control legislation. Now, I'm not a single-issue voter, but gun safety is one of my top 3 issues that dictates who I'm going to support. My top 3 issues are civil rights, and not just talking for minorities, but also LGBTQ and women and all that stuff. Civil rights, economic policy, and my third one is gun safety, and try to do something to fix our completely out of control epidemic of gun violence in this country. And when I brought up this question, the first thing I got from a bunch of Bernie supporters was them saying, well, I don't give a shit what his stance on guns is. I don't care what his stance on guns is. And that's, for those people, they may not care. But when you're talking to somebody for whom they do care, and it is important to them, when you come out and your only answer is saying, well, I don't care, that's not important, that's basically saying, that thing that's really important to you, yeah, we don't give a shit. And remember, when you're a Sanders supporter, you are that first point of contact. Now, I researched later. I found out that some of his votes on gun control were great. Some of them weren't so great. It was a mixed bag. But I had to bring the subject up 3 or 4 times before anybody actually dug into it and started giving me real information on Bernie's record on how he voted on gun control. I didn't know that he had voted in favor of an assault weapons ban until, of course I went out and I dug that up, but nobody told me that until I brought the subject up 3 or 4 times. All I kept getting the first few times is, well, that's not important. Well, you know what? For somebody who is important, it is going to be important. And most people are not like me. They're not going to keep digging. They're not going to keep asking. They're not going to go out and look for themselves. Most people are going to be like, oh, the Sanders campaign doesn't give a shit about gun control? Okay, well, I'm not going to bother even listening to them anymore. So, you cannot go out and say that these issues that Bernie's not strong on aren't important, because they're important to some people. And you also can't go around bashing Hillary Clinton because she's going to be the nominee. As of right now, she's going to be the nominee. Don't do the Republicans work for them. And also, if you want to win over supporters to Bernie Sanders, you cannot go bashing the people, because when you bash Hillary, you're bashing Hillary supporters. And if you want to win them over, you can't do that in a grassroots campaign. So that's my big advice to Bernie fans is, remember, every time you talk about Bernie Sanders, you could be talking to somebody who has never really looked at him before, and how you act is going to reflect either positively or negatively on your candidate. And keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
People don't realize that.
Yeah, I love them both. I mean, I'm like, go Bernie. I absolutely adore that man. I love his ideas, and it's not that I don't support Hillary. I would be just as happy if she would get in.
Right.
I would be very happy if it was her and Bernie, or, her and Joe, or Bernie and Joe, whichever way. I'd be happy with any of the 3 of them, to be honest with you.
Well, also, you also have to remember, too, a reminder to Bernie Sanders fans, Bernie Sanders has already said that if Hillary Clinton is the nominee, he will endorse her and he will work for her to be elected. So, now, right now, I'm a Hillary Clinton supporter. I will come out and say that. As of right now, today, I'm a Hillary Clinton supporter. But if Bernie Sanders wins the nomination, I will endorse him and I will work for his election. And I call on every single Hillary supporter to say the same. And I call on every single Bernie Sanders supporter out there to say the same thing about Hillary, because remember, if you really want to get Bernie's ideals and his policy positions, if you want them to have a snowball's chance in hell of becoming law, we have to have a Democrat in the White House. Because one thing I'll say is that Democrats can be shamed into taking the right position. Even if they start off taking the wrong position, if enough people put enough pressure on them, we can flip them to the right position. Republicans, if they're taking a position and the people are overwhelmingly against it, they'll just keep pushing the bad position and claim that the people support them even though they don't. So the thing about Democrats, even an imperfect Democrat is better than any Republican, because an imperfect Democrat can be pushed into the right position. So that's an opportunity we have with Democrats that you simply don't have with Republicans. So the question is, out there, are you a Bernie fan or are you a Hillary hater? Because I think there are some Hillary haters who are only saying they like Bernie because he's the one running against Hillary. But and again, and the thing too is that what's got to be important is that Bernie fans with a clue. If you see somebody who says that they're a Bernie fan and they're acting obnoxiously, you need to publicly shut them down. You need to publicly shut them down, because that's a signal to all of those undecided people or those Hillary people who could be persuadable. That's a signal saying, hey, this asshole doesn't speak for the campaign. And it's an important thing to do.
True.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah. So, but let me tell you something. This campaign is going to be just so much fun. I mean, back in 2008, Democrats were in a very enviable position. We had two great candidates, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. And pretty much we got to pick which one we liked the best. Whereas the Republicans at that time were trying to choose which candidate they hated the least. And it's the same story again. The Democrats have two great candidates. We have two great candidates with Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. Either one would be a great candidate. Either one would be a great president. We have an embarrassment of riches. The Republicans have 17 people running for their nomination, and not one of them has a single policy difference from any of the rest of them. They get to pick whichever one they hate the least, and it's like a replay of 2008 all over again.
Yeah, that's very true. Speaking of a replay of 2008, it is, as you know, incumbent upon you to talk me off the ledge on election night. So I'm just putting that out there now. Because for the past two cycles or the last cycle, it was, Taliesin, I'm getting nervous, talk me down. And he was wonderful with me on the last election night and the one before that, and kept me nice and even-keeled and said, we're okay. Everything's fine. I told you it was going to be okay. And, of course, he was right, and then got to say, I told you so right out. So I'm counting on you to do this again for 2016. It's part of the ritual of my election nights now in the presidential elections.
Just remember this. The traditional media is going to work overtime to try to make the 2016 election look close, because they need that for ratings. I mean, in years that were blowouts, we knew early on that one person was going to win, and there wasn't even a question of who it was going to be, like 1988 or 1996. TV ratings went way down. But then in 2000 and 2004, two elections that were genuinely close. I mean, anytime it comes down to a single state deciding the entire shebang, that's very close. And TV ratings went through the roof. So now, we really saw this in 2012, a concerted effort to make it look close. I mean, I'll tell you, in 2012, I told you this before, in July, I could tell you that Barack had it in the bag and that we weren't going to have any problems winning. And yet, they still kept up this false narrative of it being close. Because what they do is they run national polls. And we don't have a national election for president in this country. We have 50 individual elections for president in this country. And so national polls are meaningless. They are completely meaningless, and they make things look much more artificially close than they're going to try. Now, I'll tell you, if it's Hillary versus the Donald, even the bullshit national polls are not going to be able to make this look close. They would really have to bend over backwards to try to make it look close, because even the bullshit national polls are going to give Hillary at least a 10-point lead 3 months out before Election Day. And they'll keep saying, well, anything can change, anything can change. You got to look at the individual states. You got to look at their electoral votes. You got to look at the swing states and who's doing well in which swing state. Because like I said, starting off, Republicans have 149 electoral votes that they can pretty much bank. Those are safe red states. Democrats start off with 257 safe electoral votes that they can bank in safe blue states. Republicans have to win 121 electoral votes to win the presidency. Democrats have to win 13. And if Virginia stays blue, there's your 13 electoral votes right there. So
right there,
in order to win the presidency, a Republican nominee would have to win every single swing state, and they'd have to flip one impossibly blue Democratic state. And not a single, no matter who is running on the Democratic side, there's not a single Republican running who has the ability to flip that many states. It's just not going to happen. So I can tell you right now that the Democrats have this one in the bag. I can tell you this in August of 2015. And it would take just a ridiculous, it would take a meteor striking the earth type of catastrophe to change the metrics on that. And especially since when you consider why the Republicans lost last time. When you take a look at the way they lost, the fact that they lost the Latino vote in an epic fashion. Latinos voted 3-1 for Barack Obama. Republicans would have to win somewhere around 47% of the Latino vote to hope to win in 2016. And with Donald Trump, Mr. Mexicans are all rapists and drug dealers, that's not going to happen. And also, you take a look at a swing state like Ohio. Barack Obama won Ohio by 2% in the popular vote, but he won women by 11%. There's your margin of victory right there. And not only are Republicans not doing anything to win women's votes, they're doubling down by, talking about trying to get rid of Planned Parenthood that gives hundreds of thousands of poor women in this country every year contraception coverage and that sort of thing. And the fact that every single person in the Republican debate last night were all saying that they were not in favor of exceptions for abortion in the occasion of rape, incest, or the life of the fucking mother. And they said this on national TV. Marco Rubio denied that he had ever said that, even though he really did vote for bills that had exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. But he denied that he'd ever said that on the debate stage. So, with Hillary running, the gender gap's going to be truly epic. And, we could easily see a 25-point gender gap easily, because she's going to win over some of the Republican women as well.
That's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, going back to a point that you had made earlier, as a matter of fact, this was brought up during the debates tonight. So you had mentioned that, when it looks close, the media loves it because they get the attention and the ratings.
Right.
Last night, again, they said, well, before the debate started, we see Hillary Clinton's ratings drop. She's, unfavorable. There seems to be a growing distrust or mistrust of her. Is this media-driven, or is this really what's happening?
It's entirely media-driven. When you take a look at Hillary's favorables and unfavorables 3 months ago and her favorables and unfavorables now, they moved 1 point. In polls where the margin of error was 3 or 4 points. So there really hasn't been any movement on that.
Okay.
And also, for all that they're talking about Hillary's favorables and unfavorables, there's only one candidate who has decent favorables, and that's Bernie Sanders, and she's blowing every single Republican running out of the water when it comes to favorables and unfavorables. So when people say, Barack Obama's only has a 47% favorable rating, it's like, yeah, but he's tangling with a Congress that has a 18% favorable rating. I think he's winning. So there's a lot of things. There is a free ebook. This is free, and this is something. I'm going to pull this up on my tablet. I encourage everybody to go out and download this. It's free. It's in PDF format. There was a book that was written in there was a book that was written after Bill Clinton left office called The Hunting of the Presidents. It was a very, very good look at the way that the media and the right-wing hate machine were really going after Bill Clinton hard, big time. And including not just the right-wing media, too, but the media in general seems to have this hate relationship with the Clintons. And there's a new version of the book that's been put out called The Hunting of Hillary. It's by the same writers. It's available as a free ebook. It's at hillarybook.nationalmemo.com. And if you want to take a look, it looks at the entire history of the vast right-wing conspiracy against Bill Clinton, and it takes a look at how the very same themes that were started during the pogrom against Bill Clinton have been transferred over to Hillary Clinton, and places like the New York Times are still trying to continue this. Again, it's hillarybook.nationalmemo.com. It's a PDF. It's available for a free download. I encourage everybody to go and read this book. And right there, a lot of the things that you hear people saying about Hillary are the things that they were talking about Hillary and Bill 20 fucking years ago. And it's still the same old tired shit. And, here's a trivia question for you. Who was the first national political figure to say that Hillary Clinton was a corporatist?
Don't know.
I don't know.
That first person was Karl Rove, George W. Bush's campaign manager. And he started calling Hillary a corporatist when he was trying to find a way to tear her down so that she wouldn't run against George W. Bush in 2004. I mean, that's the Republicans were terrified that Hillary was going to run against George W. Bush in 2004, and so he started calling her a corporatist, and he started having people from the Republican Party go out onto liberal websites and masquerade as Democrats to go around and say that she's too corporatist, she's too close to Wall Street, she's not a true liberal. That all started from the Republicans, and they've seeded the entire left-wing internet with these memes that you still see fucking idiots repeating, not knowing where they came from. So, there's a lot of things, and I recommend you read the book, The Hunting of Hillary. Again, it's at hillarybook.nationalmemo.com. It's 100% free, and it's written by some incredible authors who really peel away the layers of bullshit and a lot of the attacks against Hillary. They're not all coming from the progressives.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's fascinating.
I find that statement a little funny, seeing as how the entire GOP is like sponsored by the Koch brothers, and yes, don't care.
Oh no, the cocksuckers. Yeah, I know.
The Koch.
Oh yeah, no. Let me tell you something. I pronounce things in a Gaelic way, and when you take a look at Loch Ness, L-O-C-H, that's not Loch Ness, that's Loch Ness. So K-O-C-H.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
And
I'm adopting that excuse because I'm half Scottish.
Yep.
So
they're the cock, and all the Republicans have turned into cocksuckers. Scott Walker is the lead cocksucker. And that's another thing, though. That's another way that having Donald Trump in this race is so delicious, because when they were all off, throwing themselves on their knees before the Koch brothers and all these other people, Donald Trump comes out and starts calling them that, saying they're pathetic, they're auctioning themselves off to the highest bidder, because Donald Trump has enough of his own money. He doesn't need to have a billionaire sugar daddy. He's his own sugar daddy. So now he is going to launch attacks against all these other guys for going and bending over backwards for these billionaire backers. And Trump's entire thing is saying that, look, these guys are going to be the puppets of these billionaires who are trying to work behind the scenes and pull their strings. He's like, I'm just a billionaire who's going to come out and run for office and let you vote on me. These other guys are just the puppets of all these other billionaires who don't have the guts to come out and actually face the voters and all that stuff. So he gets to skewer some of the other rich people that he doesn't like. At the same time, he's attacking the other candidates. And I'll tell you, everything that Donald Trump is saying about a lot of his opponents is true. I mean, when he said that Rick Perry put on glasses to try to look smarter, that's true. After the last election, Rick Perry hired image consultants to try to repair his national image after he just flamed out so horribly during the campaign. And their message to him was that he has the reputation of being an idiot and he needs to look smarter. And that's when he put on the glasses. So, yeah, and then, and again, Donald Trump was bashing Scott Walker, talking about what shitty shape Wisconsin is economically, and everything he said was true. So he's skewering these guys using the complete and unvarnished truth, which is just delicious for me to watch because I get to actually look and go, wow, I agree with Donald Trump?
Crazy, right?
I know, it's just fucking
I would not want to be in the room alone with the man.
No.
But he is very entertaining, and I will, I won't go as far as him telling it like it is.
Right.
Like all across the board. He does tell the truth as far as to take other people
it's
down,
convenient
but
for him.
It's a convenient truth. Yeah.
Right. But still, I mean, the guy is just, he's the whole thing is that the Republican Party for a long time has been wildly homophobic, wildly misogynistic, and wildly racist. It's just that they seem to have this deal with the media to pretend that they're actually serious policymakers, to pretend that they're actually legitimate political figures. And as part of the deal, the Republican Party uses code words and dog whistles and all this stuff. Trump is just stripping that veneer of respectability away and really showing the Republican Party for what it is. And it's just an incredible thing to watch.
Yeah. So you're saying that Donald Trump is actually saying what they're all thinking, but don't have the balls to say.
Precisely. He's saying everything. He is like the Republican id unbound. He is saying everything that they'd love to say, but can't bring themselves to say. And especially he's saying all the things that the batshit crazy base has been wanting a Republican candidate to say. And again, Donald Trump is a monster that the Republicans have made themselves. The fact that they're going around and complaining about his tone is fucking hilarious to me. I mean, really, they have no one but themselves. They have no one but themselves to blame. I mean, imagine, let's say back in 2004, when the Democrats were out of power in the entire government. They didn't have either houses of Congress. They didn't have the presidency. Let's say back then the Democratic National Committee started talking about their candidates as superheroes and started to say that, John Kerry is the Captain America of politics and that this senator is the Spider-Man of politics and all that stuff. Would have been really fucking stupid, but it would have been really desperate as a way to rebrand the Democratic Party into political superheroes fighting for truth, justice, and the American way. And if they did that election cycle after election cycle, you just know that eventually in the Democratic primary, somebody would go out campaigning in tights and a cape. It would happen. If they kept driving home the theme of Democrats as superheroes again and again, somebody would go out there in a superhero outfit to campaign. And the Democratic Party would have nobody but themselves to blame, because when you spoon feed bullshit, eventually somebody is going to decide they don't want it spoon fed, they want it on a shovel. And that's exactly what Donald Trump is for the Republican Party. Years that they've been spoon feeding little bits of racism and homophobia and xenophobia and all that stuff. And now there's somebody who's coming along willing to serve up an all-you-can-eat buffet of this bullshit. Wow. And the fact that the Republican base is eating it up, the Republican establishment only has themselves to blame for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we are we're down to about 10 minutes, so I wanted to give you the option if you have any new oh God, I lost
side ventures. if you
Yes,
want to talk about
thank you.
any of the other things you're working on, is what my sister is trying to say.
Well,
Yes, thank you, sis.
there's a movie that I wrote called Quarter Bin. It's a comedy that takes place around a comic book shop. I didn't direct it, I just wrote it, but that's been picked up for distribution, and just yesterday I wound up shooting a special feature for the DVD, talking as the writer about the characters and how I wrote them and how I came up with certain stories and all that fun stuff. So that's, I think that might be out by the end of the year. So that's coming out. And I'm also looking at possibly revving up another production on my end. I'm still working on my history books type stuff, but that's one thing I didn't realize once I started doing this is that the data collection phase was going to take fucking forever, but I'm still working on that. But I'm actually looking at possibly starting up another feature, trying to decide on one of my scripts that I've had around for a few years that I really love, and thinking about possibly throwing one of those into production to shoot one of those late this year or early next year. So I've got some stuff going,
Cool.
and I'm still working on getting my podcast up. I'm trying to record several ahead of the time when I start posting them so I can be a little ahead of the curve. So in case things get crazy, as they do sometimes, I'll kind of be ahead of the curve and I won't have to worry about falling behind.
Right.
But, I think one of my early ones is going to be a history of the Republican Party, or how they went from the party of Lincoln to the North American White People's Party. So that's going to be one of my early podcasts.
Plug your Facebook page, please.
Say what?
Plug your Facebook page, please, before we run
Yes,
out of time.
it is the Pagan Pundit. Look it up on Facebook, facebook.com/Pagan Pundit. That's going to be the name of the podcast too, is the Pagan Pundit. And so,
Yay.
and I also just did Starwood, and I had a nice big crowd for my political workshop. And
Great.
I'm going to be, anybody who's in northeastern Ohio, at the Pagan Pride that's going to happen in Bedford in a couple of weekends, I'm going to be doing a workshop there on Tales from the New Forest, stories from the early days of modern Wicca and paganism. I'll be giving that talk on Sunday afternoon.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Yes, plug away. Yes.
Yay.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, and also,
Go ahead.
oh yeah, and also I'm also saying that I'm currently counting down the weeks until Arrow and the Flash come back in October. But anyway, summer's driving me crazy because all of my favorite superhero TV shows are on hiatus right now. So right now I just get to look on my Facebook pages and go and look and see all the behind the scenes stuff from Stephen Amell and Kate Cassidy and all these people. So I'm looking forward.
Have you
and
seen
also,
Daredevil?
Oh yes, I've watched Daredevil all the way through. That's fucking awesome.
I love it.
I'm gonna go on Sunday with my daughter and go see Ant-Man in 3D. So I'm looking forward to that.
Very
I've heard
cool.
that is a fantastic movie.
Yes, much better than the Fantastic Four. So yes, I'm definitely going to be going and seeing Ant-Man on Sunday.
I have heard that as well.
Yeah,
and also, you guys are having.
If you like, I was going to say, if you like superhero movies, check out the Red Band trailer for the new Deadpool movie starring Ryan Reynolds. Thing looks fucking epic. It just looks awesome. It's going to be an R-rated Marvel film, and it's just going to be awesome. Ridiculously violent.
I can't wait. What were you going to say, sis?
Oh, I was just going to say I'm so glad that now he's sharing these things with his kids, you know, that he's taking his daughter, and I just think that's wonderful.
Oh, it's awesome because, well, see, my wife and my son are going to be going to Cedar Point to the amusement park on Sunday because they have season's passes. And whenever they go to Cedar Point, my daughter and I have Daddy-Daughter Day, where we go see a movie and then I take her out to lunch. We're probably going to go to Subway, and then we go see a movie and we walk around and we go down to the lake and feed the ducks and that kind of thing. And so, you know, it's funny because we had the option of going to Cedar Point with them this weekend, but my daughter said she'd rather have a Daddy-Daughter Day. So we're gonna wait to go. Yeah, we're gonna wait to go to Cedar Point until they have their their Halloween happenings in September and October, where they turn the entire fairway into one big haunted house. we went last year, and my daughter loved the haunted houses. So we, so we're gonna go off and do our daddy-daughter thing this weekend. And last time she actually talked me into going and seeing the Poltergeist remake. That was dog shit that even 3D couldn't cure. That was horrendous.
Really?
That was, normally 3D saved the Smurfs movie for me, okay? I can at least enjoy the 3D in that bowl of dog snot, but even Poltergeist wasn't saved by the 3D.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's saying a lot, because 3D can cure a lot of ills, but not that, huh?
I'll tell you, before we saw Avengers Age of Ultron, we saw the trailer for Star Wars 7, The Force Awakens in 3D, and oh my God, that just gave me a geekgasm. That was just, oh my God, that's just going to be so fucking classic.
Cried.
I can't wait.
I literally cried when I saw Harrison Ford. I lost it. I was like,
Chewie,
done.
we're home.
Done.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and the entire crew's the Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher. They even brought back Peter Mayhew to play Chewbacca, and Kenny Baker, and Warwick Davis is going to be in it too. So.
Wow.
I love Warwick.
Oh yeah. Warwick Davis is in there.
If you have not checked it out, and I believe it's on Netflix, but there is a series done by Ricky Gervais called An Idiot Abroad. With his
we watched all the seasons of it. Me, my wife, and my daughter watched all the seasons of that. That's awesome.
It's a fantastic show.
Him with Warwick Davis was the most hilarious thing. I mean, there was points I felt really bad for Warwick, but
yeah,
he made it so much better.
Oh yes. That's just that was just awesome. I love that show. And also, I recommend anybody who's looking for something funny to watch on Netflix, check out Garfunkel Oates. Garfunkel and Oates is one of the funniest shows.
I
love that
those
show.
Too.
I've been watching them since they started their YouTube channel. I stumbled across it because one of my other friends on Facebook is a stand-up comedian who knew them. So they put out a blast to all their Facebook friends saying, hey, check out my friend's new channel. So I've been watching them since they started. They're just, I love the one of their song, Fuck Me in the Ass Because I Love Jesus. That's just a classic.
Yeah.
I have to investigate this because I am woefully not in the loop on that. Although I do.
Oh my
I'm
God!
I'm gonna send that to you.
So now I know I have to watch it.
Yes.
You are gonna crack the fuck up.
Oh yes, and now and of course Kevin Smith is going forward with his Mallrats and Clerks sequels, so those are going to start shooting soon. And did you hear what happened to Kevin Smith at Comic-Con?
No.
He was there to promote his new film, Yoga Hosers, that has his daughter and Johnny Depp's daughter in it. And Johnny Depp actually is one of the stars of the movie. And he was supposed to go out right after the Star Wars panel. So he thought, oh, great, I'm going to have a full audience because a lot of people are just going to stick around. Well, at the end of the Star Wars panel, J.J. Abrams surprised everybody with a free concert of Star Wars music conducted by John Williams, and everybody got up and left. The entire hall emptied.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, Kevin still had about 2,500 people for his panel, but he's used to having around 8,000 people for his panel. He only had 2,500 because everybody else went across the street to go listen to the Star Wars concert.
Oh,
and JJ backstage saw Kevin. He's like, oh, my God, I feel like Darth Vader. I didn't realize what this was going to do to your panel. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
Well, at least he said something about it and acknowledged it.
Yeah.
That was nice.
And I hate to say this, but we are down to about a minute and a half.
Okay.
And I don't want to wind up cutting you off.
Okay.
But it was wonderful of you to join us our first show back, and I mean you're the first.
Yes. And we should see about doing a special election night. We should do a live election night special where we talk about the results as they come in. That'd be great.
That would be awesome.
Book it. It's booked. It's booked right now. You heard it. Everybody. Election, the president's election in 2016. We will do a special live report while it's happening. We're going to have Taliesin on. It's going to be a full night. Everybody bring your blankets and your ears. We're all going to cuddle
We
up
will
by
make
the
this
TV,
happen.
and we will make this happen. I'm holding you to this, Taliesin. I'm telling you right now.
Hey, I'm down
like
for
a
it. It'd be
video
a lot of
thing.
fun.
I think it'll be a gas. I think it's a fantastic idea. It's in the books. Forget it. You can't get out of it now. It is a done deal.
Yay!
Sounds crazy.
All
Okay,
right,
well, you
so
guys
we
have a great
love you
time.
guys.
Party on,
You too.
everybody, and
Have
I will
fun
catch you
tonight.
next time.
All right,
All right,
we'll catch
honey.
you
Love
soon.
you so much.
Bye.
Soon.
Bye.
Bye.
All right,
Wrap
guys,
it
and I'm not sure if we cut off or not, but
Just say-
we're going to go ahead and
just say
end the
goodnight.
episode. Yes, but we are glad to be back. We love y'all. Thank you
Yes.
for tuning in or tuning in to the archives, and we will see you next week with Danette Wilson
Yay.
and Bright Blessings. We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
You're listening to Love Advice with Leanne. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Leanne, longtime listener, first-time caller. Why, in your professional opinion, do you never take my calls off the air?
Is this Carl?
Yep, it's Carl. I mean, we had a few dates. Everything was great. I thought,
Well, when you switch to Geico, you could save a lot of money on car insurance.
okay, awesome.
You should call them.
I will.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.